Hello everybody, Reggie Time here, and today for the first time I am making my first ever 50NL 6 Max Zoom video. At least I think it's the first time. I could be wrong, but I think it is. I'm not going to grind these games, I'm not going to play them regularly, I'm just playing them because I know it's games that the games that lots of people are playing. They're games that people are aspiring to play in, and without going into too much of an anti-Pokerstars rant, the games that I will never play in. But having said that, I'm here trying to make relevant content. So if I'm trying to make relevant content, I guess now and again, I need to be having like a broad coverage of this. And I actually think I'm just going to pause the video one moment whilst I adjust my open sizes. Just going to sit out for a moment and pause the video when I've played the hand, because I'm not really that happy with a 2.5 open. I'm happy with it from the cutoff, but I'm actually going to try and have some different open sizes from different positions. That's what I'm going to try and work on today, rather than just opening the same size from all streets. We're going to try and just do things a little bit differently. I'm going to float here with my gut shot, my backdoor flush draw, and if he checks the turn, we're going to look to take it away most of the time. Don't think you're going to check that turn too often. And he doesn't. So now the question is, when he uses that sizing, how often is he calling a turn raise and calling a river? It's a good card to double barrel. But he's only playing one table, which makes you less inclined to want to try and bluff him. But if you're regular there playing 4 tables, I may well have gone for a bluff there. But anyway, just going to pause the video for one moment. You hopefully won't notice anything. Okay, so we're back, and we'll go through the sizes I've made as and when I go to use them. 8-7 off, defend versus a small blind open. De Rossi is unable to search. Going to 3-bet my ace king. Going to c-bet here. Ace king suited I may have called there, because I think I'm happy to play that hand out of position without the initiative, but ace king off, I think I'd rather have the initiative. I'm going to play it out of position. So that's the reason why I made that call. So he check calls the 9-7-4 flop. I'm going to isolate the 5-4 suited here, am I? No, I'm not. I'm going to bet again here to try and get value from his single club. So he's got king queen with the club, for example. He's certainly going to call. I don't just want to let a free card roll off there and just let him free roll to victory. So yeah, I think betting's absolutely fine there. Roshi, there's a blast from the past. I think it's a 2+2. So here I'm going to try and use these through the streets. 3 big blinds are going to be my standard open from the first two. 2.5 is going to be my cut-off open, and 2.1 is going to be my button open. And that's it's a little bit old school. People tend not to adjust their raise sizes by position very much these days. I still think it's something that's fine to do, to mess around with. I'm just choosing to do it this time because I find myself getting 3-bet a ton in these games. And if I'm going to be getting 3-bet a ton from the button, I may as well be making my open to smaller, so I think I can get away with when 3-bet really quite small here. Ace 8 or suit. Still just going to fold it though. Not going to set mine with the 2 5s. Because of his stack size. Normally I would set mine, but the guy who only had 40 blinds, not in the business of set binding against somebody with a 40 blind stack. Ah, we have a note on somebody. I hope it's not too unflattering. We didn't get to see it, which is probably a blessing. A lot of my notes on Pokerstars were from the olden days when maybe my note taking was a little less flattering and a little less useful than it is today. 7-6 suited. I'm just going to call, I think. I was a little bit worried about getting squeezed, but I'll cross that bridge if and when I come to it. Here we flop a good shot. Get someone checking to us on a dry board. I think his range for checking here is going to be like jacks, queens, tens, nines, ace, queen, maybe that type of thing. 3-bet my ace, queen against a cut-off open. Queen is not a good card because that definitely hits part of his check calling range. And I don't think it changes much in terms of the hands that I can now make him fold. So I'm just going to give up now. Unless I river the nuts, of course. And now I'm just going to bomb it. I'm just going to hope he has like ace, queen or king, jack or something like that. We don't bet very much when we take this line. So I think we can bet pretty big there. Because he's usually going to be bluff catching or giving up. And he did have jack, king, which is somewhat unusual line to take, in my opinion. He can't know. Well, he might know, but I can't expect him to know me. He's going to look at me and he should be thinking, unknown, probably sucks. Let's value bet my king jack. If I played these games regularly, I would absolutely take a note on that's how he plays top pair good kicker. Out of position. And I probably wouldn't take that line against him again. I was just the guy we just played. I always get mixed up. Not good at remembering names in a hurry. No, it isn't. Ace 5 suited. I'm actually going to 3-bet this hand because we could just call with it. I think most people are opening and folding a lot under the gun. I mean, if you're opening all pairs under the gun and a lot of Broadway cards, you're going to be folding a lot of that to a 3-bet, particularly with someone who's an unknown to you, who you don't know anything about. So I think we have a lot of fold equity there, and we have a hand that I'd rather play that way than be passive with it and then get in some weird spots post flop. Probable fish here with his stack size. It's from Belgium, which isn't renowned for us being a hotbed of stellar poker players. So I think we can make a c-bet on that board there. We have absolutely no showdown value, but we did have a backdoor flush draw. Ace 3 seems an obvious open there. Backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw. And a good chance we can be floated, so it seemed like a good spot to c-bet. So what do I think of 15L Zoom without being incredibly negative about Pokerstars? I think it's full of very competent regulars. I am making this video at 10 to midnight on a Sunday night, so if it's probably going to be one of the better times of the week to play. So I don't know how much difference people have in win rates from peak times to off-peak times, but I would imagine this is probably going to be a sort of time to play. Here, for example, we're now seeing 1, 2, 3 players with less than 100 blind stacks. So King Jack offsuit isn't a hand I would always open from middle position, particularly in Zoom if I thought I was at a table with a bunch of regulars. But when I've got 3 players in the pot that aren't playing full stacks, I'm absolutely going to be opening it. Unfortunately, we haven't flopped very well, and we've had 2 callers, so I'm just not going to c-bet here. I don't think we can find a profitable c-bet there. And again, this is just a dreadful board. No intention of c-betting here. I'm just going to give up. I'm going to bet twice now on table 1, just because it checked through on the flop. And I think whatever this guy's called, probably I would expect him to stab a queen a lot on the turn. So I just don't think he's have a queen too often. And because we pick up the flush draw, I think it's an absolutely fine spot to just try and pick the pot up with the intention of probably betting more strippers, just to try and get somebody off a hand worse than the queen. I'm just continuing with a give up here. Don't expect him to fold many pocket pairs at this point. I have been a little bit weak tight in this hand, but I'm out of position to, and this is one of the hands we could have got into fold, but I'm out of position to a regular. It's a pretty wet flop. It gives him license to dick around me a lot. I don't particularly want to get involved in those situations. We just haven't flopped very well. I don't play these games too often, so it's not like I'm going to be getting super exploited there. And we're going to value bet our 9s over here. Probably going to bet 2 streets here with our 9s and check by the river. I think we can get called twice by, well, we're just going to fold now. We've been check raised, but I think we can get called twice there by worse pocket pairs, by some random floats and draws, etc. But when he check raises, we don't see much reason to stay in the pot. It doesn't bet very much there, but we've got 2 9s, and I'm not in the mood ever really for bluff catching versus check raises. It's not my idea of fun. It gets damned expensive. So yes, what else do I think of Zoom? Full of decent regulars. I'm sure all the regulars will say, oh, all the regulars suck, I'm a good regular, but everyone else is shit. It's probably not true. If you are one of those players, you're probably overestimating your own ability whilst simultaneously underestimating the ability of your opponents. I just think there's lots and lots of very competent regulars in the game, and it's probably a beatable game at peak times, probably not so beatable at midday on a Tuesday on Tuesday in GMT. So I think if you choose the times you're going to play the game, I think you could carve out a 5 or 6 big blind 100 win rate in it. If you're not going to game select and you're going to be playing 150,000 hands a month and just playing every waking moment, then I think it's going to be way less profitable for you in terms of win rates. But who knows, with the grind and the rate back and all the other good things, maybe it's your best shot at having a decent hourly if you don't have the patience and discipline to play low volume. If you do, because he's quite a patient and disciplined player, I suspect there might be better options for you than Zoom. But that's as far as I'm going to go with it. So we've flopped a gut shot here. I don't think this is the sort of board where you get 2 calls on from a bronze star and a chrome star who both have 50 blindish stacks. So I'm not going to make the c-bet as a bluff. Now we've turned not the nuts, but as good as the nuts. We're certainly going to be betting. And we're going to bet quite big because there's probably tons of stuff that can call. He donks into us there. Obviously I'm worried about King 10. I'm just going to call. And now I'm worried about spades too. So I think if he donks big again here, this Vanessa Payok, he, she, I'm just going to fold. Now they check, do I go for thin value? I think we do. I'm just going to fold to a raise. We can definitely get called by 2 pairs here. A set, if anyone's got a set, we can get called. King 10's going to call, the flush is probably going to raise. I won't be surprised if we lose here too. This Pata Efadzi type character. Won't be at all surprised if we lose. But that's what happens when we go for thin value, sometimes we lose. So it makes it thin, I guess. going to keep checking my bottom second pair here. And we do win, which is nice. I've no intention of calling the river. I think it's super unlikely someone's just going to bet, especially someone's a regular, just going to bet one street here and just let me have a showdown for this $2. So I'm just going to fold, not care. What did we get looked up by there? 7-10. So he made an incredibly loose call. We can definitely tag him as a fish. Not going to bother waiting to deal with the 3-4 suited. This is a question I'm going to throw out to Zoom regulars. If you were 2-tabling instead of 4-tabling, so therefore you got more opportunities to fold marginal small blind and button hands that you would open if the first time you looked at the table it had snap folded to you, and you were on the button with a very marginal hand that you would open, but just say you noticed it straight away and you had a very marginal hand that you would open on the button if it folded to you quickly. Is there more value in just cycling through tons of hands and folding hands like 3-4 suited in the small blind, or who knows, King 6 offsuit in the small blind, and therefore maybe getting up to 100 more or more hands per hour in? Or is there more value in just waiting for it to fold to you in the small blind and then making your very thin, barely profitable opens? I don't know. I haven't done the maths around that at all. Don't particularly want to start getting into doing the maths around it because I don't know enough about how many extra hands you can get if you're frequently cycling very quickly through. Like 8-6 suited, bang. 8-6 off, sorry. Straight into the fold bin. 7-2 straight into the fold bin, etc. 4-7 suited. I'm going to wait to open that one. But if it was a 6-8 offsuit, would you wait to open that on the button? Or would you... I'm going to fold now. Or would you fold it and just get on with it? How much value is it in folding and getting an extra so many X amount of hands? You don't know how many extra hands per hour it would be. Versus waiting to take every single steal opportunity that comes your way. So yeah, that's just a question. Which do you think is better? We completely brick with our 8-10 here, so we're just gonna muck it. Yeah, there's not much else we can do here. We have virtually no equity. If we bluff and we get called, we're going to be drawing incredibly rough. Hidden from search. Ace Queen suited. Got a call. I would have 3-bet because it looked like regular until I saw the big blind on at $18, and that was enough to make me call to try and play pots with the big blind, and then he's just c-bet. Pretty weak looking half pot here. We have 2 backdoor draws. Seems like a good spot to me to try and show some aggression. I mean, we have a really easy fold if he 3-bets us, and sometimes we can improve to hands like this. Now I can value bet again here. I think I'm going to value bet again. I'm going to probably check back the river. Because I think you can definitely have like aces and kings and things here. The 10, I'm not remotely worried about the 10. If he's got a 10, he's got a 10. Wow, when he just jams into us. This is interesting now, because this line doesn't make a huge amount of sense in terms of what takes this line. 10x does. I wasn't worried about a 10 until he did this. And now I am somewhat worried about a 10. I'm just going to fold. We haven't invested so much in the pot that we just need to be going. Paying us $27 weird lines like that. Not really sure what's gone on there. It is somewhat frustrating, but I'm happy enough with my fold. I think my turn barrel could have been slightly bigger, but I was going for some thin value. I guess it's somewhat consistent with how it will play a 10. Problem is, I think he's value betting too often. And if he's value betting, we're probably going to be toast. I don't think he does that with King Queen, for example, or any kind of Queen Jack they can have. I don't think he has King Queen or Queen Jack too often. I think he's going to have a 10 too much, or maybe he's going to have a weirdly played overpair that once a 10 comes, he's less worried about the situation. Because it's harder for us to have top set example. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. Weird. Weird, a little bit frustrating, but never mind. Maradona. Eesh. A name that sends anger down the spines of every Englishman of a certain age, around my age or older. He, for those who don't know, very quick football history lesson, he punched the ball into the net in the 1986 World Cup semi-final for Argentina versus England. He also scored an absolutely wonderful goal, but yeah, he punched the ball into the net, and it made me sad. It didn't make me cry because I've not been much of a crier in my life, but it definitely made me sad. Not a great board for our two kings. But I think I can see bet for value. And again, I'm going to go for some value on the turn. I mean, it's mighty thin. But I think I'd rather bet the turn here than call the river. I think call the river is just not going to turn pairs into bluffs too often. So I'm just going to bet here. And it is very thin. But I really don't want to be calling the river. He's going to turn it with an ace here a bunch of the time, and I'm going to be pissed off, but such is life. And he turns it with ace 7, which is obviously incredibly frustrating. But what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I'm going to peel the 9-7 suited because the guy doesn't have a full stack, so it's the kind of person I'm going to want to play pots with. Pairing a good shot seems like a good time to bluff, to bet, try and start building a pot. Yes, we've had a couple of frustrating hands in the last couple of minutes. I mean, I don't know. I mean, who knows? For all I know, his defend there might have been incredibly, and I hate the word standard. I don't know if it is standard for these games. It is standard to just peel 3 bets blind versus blind with ace 7 suited. And there, whatever. I'm out of touch with Zoom games, I guess. He's placing bad to me, but there we go. I might say that. I could be saying that because I lost the pot. I'm going to do 3-bet here just to try and isolate somebody who looks like they're going to be not the best of players. So I'm going to try and isolate him. And we flop pretty well for our hand. We won't be folding to a raise here. I don't particularly want to be raised, but we wouldn't be folding to one. So yep, how have I enjoyed my 15L Zoom experience? In a nutshell, I haven't really. I'm looking forward to ending this video and going and firing my beloved Sky Poker up and, well, say my beloved, it's not my beloved yet, but it's certainly my new flame. I'm going to fire my new flame up and hopefully cleanse the stench of Zoom off my skin. I think if my only options as a poker player were play Zoom or quit, I think I'd be choosing the quit option. Because I just wouldn't get any pleasure from these games. For me, poker's about finding some bad players, stacking some loot up, feeling like you are not constantly being like overmatched or close to overmatched, and means it has to be pleasurable. This is why when I launch my new website, which will hopefully be launching sometime in the next 7 days, depending on when you're watching this, it might already have launched. So I'm aiming it at recreational players. There'll be less of the Zoom videos and more of the Sky, Unibet, 888 videos coming out once the new site launches. It's going to be aimed specifically at players who don't want to be on this stars hamster wheel, who don't want to be like constantly banging their heads against moderate regulars who... By moderate, I don't mean that to be offensive, by the way. But moderate is average. Call them what you will. Moderate, average, meh. Who knows how you describe them. But not great regulars, but not bad regulars. Who just want to be looking to put pressure on people straight away. They don't want to be looking to make poker fun. Bang, you know, your range is wide, so I'm just going to 3-bet you with whatever. Who knows, whatever crap people do it with. And it's modern poker on stars. I get it. It's not my bag. Don't like it. Never will like it. Certainly not what I'm aiming things at. But having said that, I do like my channel to have quite a broad range of games. I like to try and cover as much as I can on it. So yeah, I've done my 15.6 max video. Probably won't be doing another one. Sorry, 15.6 max Zoom video. Probably won't be another one for months. It took me a long time to be motivated to suffer this level of tedium again. That's for sure. So yeah, we're coming up to the half-hour stage. Pokerstars Zoom has made the minutes turn into hours for me, as it always does. And yeah, we're going to sit out in a moment, and I'm going to count my blessings that I haven't been sucked into the poker equivalent of heroin addiction by having to play these games to grind out FPPs and all that stuff. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you haven't been too insulted by my analogy of heroin addiction and Pokerstars Zoom. But if you are playing these games, you are somewhat like a smackhead. Not necessarily in a damaging way that smack damages people, but certainly in the way of you have an addiction, and you're addicted to a bad poker game that probably isn't great for you, and it would probably do you good, like any addiction, in the long term to kick it. So yeah, I think we'll leave it there. I hope you enjoyed the video. Some of you probably haven't. Some of you probably think I'm a dick. But yeah, until next time, when we're going to be playing on a much more fun site, we'll leave you to it, and I'll just say take care and goodbye.